Good morning, everyone. I just got a cup of coffee number 2, and I am aware it looks like the cup is the size of my head, but I feel like I need it today. So grab your cup of coffee. I was just having a little conversation with Ashad, who joined our group yesterday, and a couple of things that he was talking about got me thinking about the quickest way out of that kind of overwhelmed state. I think we've all experienced it consistently, right? It doesn't matter whether you're new in business. I got good antennas today. It doesn't matter whether you're new in business or whether you're doing something new in your business. There comes a time when you just seem to end up in this state of overwhelm where you have way too many thoughts buzzing around your head. It feels like a load of flies and you're trying to catch one at a time to try and do something with it. And it can be super, super difficult to actually do that. So overwhelm happens particularly at the beginning. People first hear about the thing of online business, and then there's 2,000 things that you don't know about. Then it can happen when you're doing something in your business where you're really up leveling. So you might decide, hey, I've been a service provider for 2 years. I have clients, but I want to take it to the next level. And suddenly there are all these questions like, how do you tell your clients that you're going to be working with other people? How are you going to handle that they're never going to speak to you directly? But can you see, as I'm kind of going through these thoughts, you will figure out that all of these thoughts that you have, they are actually questions, right? So they are just big question marks that you have hovering around this area that you're trying to develop in or that you're working on. And that is super, super, super normal. So the key to get out of this stage of overwhelm fairly quickly is for you to actually ask better questions. And that's down to asking better questions of yourself. It's down to asking better questions of other people. And it's down to asking better questions of the internet if you're using it for research, okay? So what often happens is that when we are new to something, we get online and we start consuming anything and everything from anyone about this specific topic. So we amass this amount of information in our heads. And the problem sometimes is that the information that we're consuming doesn't actually help us to get clearer in what it is that we want or where we're trying to go. So it just adds to the confusion at a larger scale, basically. So suddenly you have more thoughts, more flies buzzing around your head, and it makes it even more complicated to try and make sense of any of it. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to A, make sense of what you know and what you don't know, then B, figure out better questions to ask of yourself as well as of other people, and then identify where you're going to get the answers from, okay? So it's a fairly simple process, but it will help you if you consistently implement this to really move forward way quicker. So I had the chance once to work with or to talk privately to one of the guys in my mastermind. And we're talking, 7-figure business owner, super busy. And we were talking on Voxer, and he said to me, he was like, Jess, you just sent me a 2-minute voice message. There was a lot of rambling in there. Can you please distill what you just said into some very specific questions? And I was like, why on earth is he doing that? I'm pretty sure I was fairly clear. And then I realized that I wasn't. There was this big buzzy mess in my head, and I was asking him to make sense of that big buzzy mess in my head for me. But people are too busy to do that. So you will get inaccurate responses. I just realized my laptop's not actually plugged in. You will get inaccurate responses, you will get flat responses, and they will just leave you feeling even more frustrated. So when I actually went and I distilled the 1 to 2 minute rambling Voxer message into 3 very distinct questions, I got some really good answers from him. And then he was like, yeah, let's jump on a call for half an hour. But I want you to think about A, B, and C, and I want you to have very specific questions to ask me. And I got so much out of those 30 minutes because I didn't come with the rambling mess in my head. I came with specific questions, okay? So here's what we're going to do. 3 steps to figure this out. Step number 1 is you have to understand what you know and what you don't know about a specific topic. Regardless of where you're stuck and overwhelmed right now, you have to know what it is that you know and that you don't know, because how else are you supposed to figure out what are the questions that you're going to ask? So I use, and I'll show you this actually. So I use a sketchbook. Oh, this is very bright. I use a sketchbook as a notebook. Hang on. So it's just a big spiral bound thing, and it has white paper or blank sheets inside it. And what I do whenever I'm not sure what I know and don't know about a specific topic, so I was doing some research and some new stuff, and I'm revamping the coaching program, and I was like, right, I have to be super clear on what I know and what I don't know. Some things I have observed in practice, I've seen like examples in people's lives and businesses, but what I haven't got is I haven't got the connection between some of those pieces. So for me, the best way to map it out is to do it like visually. Like I will draw pictures, I will point arrows, I will write notes next to it, and then I will map out how these things correlate between each other. And as I'm doing this, sometimes I even talk out loud as I do that, because then my brain just kind of puts it out there, and then my brain actually self-corrects and goes, this bit doesn't make any sense. If you explain it like that, nobody's going to understand. So you're going to have to find a different way. So as I do that, I will find things that in my head right now don't really make sense as they stand. So then on another page, I start making a list of questions that I have to ask of myself or of other people or of the internet at large. I make a list of questions as I go through this mapping things out that I need to ask of myself, that I need to ask of other people, that I need to ask of the internet. So there's some research that I might need to do. But until you are really clear on how the pieces connect and what areas you have, what I call it like a mental black hole. My mind just goes like, no, I'm not really sure how these two things relate to each other. I need to do some research. Maybe I need to read a book. Maybe there's somebody's podcast I could listen to. Maybe there's somebody I could ask. Okay? So the step is simple, like draw it out on paper, draw the correlations, try and explain to yourself, or if you have a trusted friend that's, happy to listen to your ramblings, take the trusted friend and try and explain to him or her what you know about online business and virtual assistants right now. And your trusted friend will ask you questions. They will go, oh, so yeah, but how does the virtual assistant connect with the clients? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's either you can answer that question, which means you can put it on your map that you're drawing, or you can't answer the question, which means you should write it down. And then step 3, figure out where you're going to best get that information from. Okay? So whenever you feel overwhelmed, map it out, ask questions on the things that you don't know and find the best questions to ask. And then number 3, figure out, is this something I should put into Google? Is this something I should put into a Facebook group? Is this something that I can use the welcome call for? I've just decided a couple of days ago that I learn best from people and about people when I talk to them like this. So I was like, yep, let's do a 20-minute welcome call for everyone. You're going to get the most out of that welcome call if you ask really specific, precise questions on the things that you need answers on, rather than bringing that big, messy spaghetti that you have in your brain right now, okay? So those are the 3 fairly simple steps to like break any confusing, overwhelming situation down into like manageable questions. And in the Crush It Club next month, I'm going to do a whole, it's actually going to be a whole separate course that will be available afterwards to buy separately too. But what we're going to look at is what's happening in our brains right now and how our thought patterns that we have developed over our entire lifetime, how they contribute to our self-sabotaging behaviors. And I'm going to give you literally all the tools that you're going to need to stop that. And that's where I had to do all of this. I was like, I have to map this out. I have all these different tools, but I have to make sure that I give people the right tool at the right time. So which order does this have to go in? Oh, I have to research this bit. I have to check this book because I know they talked about this. Then I have to go here and I have to do that. And if there's somebody that I can ask some questions, I will go and ask them some questions, right? So you will see that I use this process all the time to make sense of things, to map things out, and it's going to be super, super helpful if you adopt that too. But in that module, I'm actually going to give people a list of questions, and I have them like written down. Hang on, let me see if I can find them in this mess that is my notebook full of crazy thoughts. It might actually be after this. Oh yes, here. So there are so many questions that you can ask of yourself to like get to know yourself better, which is why I find journaling so helpful, because you can just pick one of those questions off of the list and just start going into it. And as you write, it's like your brain comes out with stuff that you didn't even know you were thinking. So asking better questions of yourself is a super valuable skill when it comes to developing yourself and understanding, you know, where you are really trying to go. And sometimes they're really deep questions like, what do I really want? how could I be more creative? How am I going to be a visionary? You know, how do I keep myself from taking steps backwards? What causes me to get into a day-to-day rut? How can I prevent that from happening? What excites me? What would I do if I had no fear of or limitation? How am I being dishonest with myself? You know, there are so many questions. What am I avoiding in my life? That's like a super important question to ask. So it's not just about asking factual questions about certain topics. That's one thing, but you can also go really deep with asking super good questions to yourself, and you'll be surprised at the answers that you sometimes come up with. There's things you didn't even know you believed. So the power lies in the question, not in who exactly you're asking or you know, anything else really. So take these 3 steps, sort through the brain spaghetti, bring it out on paper, and then find some really good questions to ask. And I would love for you to try that when you're feeling overwhelmed right now. And I would love for you to give that a shot and let me know how that's going. And feel free to, you know, take a picture of what you've written down and like upload it in the group so that we can see what you were working through. And then let us know what are the specific questions that you need to be asking right now. So go and do that if you're feeling overwhelmed right now. If you really want to sort this out, then there's going to be some work to be put in. If you don't really want to sort it out and you just want to stay in the confused stage, then you can do that too. But this is really all you need to do. Yeah. Okay, dokes. I'll catch you later. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you find that helpful, if you've tried it, and we'll talk about it. And please, if you haven't booked that welcome call, even if you've been in the group for a while, I'll drop the link again under the video. And if you come on this call, don't come with the brain spaghetti. Come with a list of very, very specific questions. Maybe I should do a separate video on that and like attach it to the actual post. That might be a good idea, right? Okay, I'll catch you later. I better get on with work now.